Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet! Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. So this is a review of Dune. I've been watching Dune, the 2021 version by, what's his name, Denis, whoever he is. I don't know him personally. I know of his work. I quite like his work. And I like Dune a lot, right? I've liked Dune a lot since I was a kid. I got into it. My entry into Dune was the 84 David Lynch movie, which I adored. I actually adored it at the time. I was like 13 when it came out. I like Star Wars. I like Star Trek. I like, that. So I saw Dune, and I was like, wow, this is science fiction-y, but it seems to have a lot more layers and detail, and it seemed the world building seemed really fascinating. So from there, I read the books, and I've always loved Dune, right? I absolutely always loved it. So I was very interested in this movie. And then I was on somebody's channel, the Space Book, Dan Hadler's channel. I'm not sure if this video is aired yet. I'm not sure if it went out live or if it was a pre-recorded. So I said, I saw it about a week ago. It got leaked about a week ago online. I figure I have a subscription to HBO Max. I'm going to download it. I don't feel like I'm stealing it if I do that. That's what I normally do is, because you can't get the same things in Israel as you get in America or in England. I buy a subscription, so I buy something that I want, and then I download it illegally. That way, I kind of feel like I'm not stealing it. Does that work? I guess I'll find out, when I die and go to the heavenly tribunal. I hope I get some points for effort at the very least. Anyway, so I was on this panel and they asked me. I said I saw it and they said, "Do you recommend it?" And I couldn't answer. Right? I couldn't answer. And Mega Geek was there, Ian, who's great channel. Go and check out Rebecca Gold. There's great stuff on his channel. He's a good director. He said, well, look, if you can't automatically recommend it, that's not a recommend. So here's my problem. The movie is a recommend. It's definitely a strong recommend. It's a really, really good movie that I recommend you see. However, it's so freaking good. It might be a crime against cinema because this is the first half of the novel Dune, right? The first half. And what they should have done is what Villeneuve wanted to do was film. I think he wanted to film 3 movies back to back. He wanted to do the Dune in 2 books and Dune Messiah. That seems to be how it was set up and how it should have. And they should have released it one year after another. Warner Bros. Weren't quite as confident. Said we'll give you the first one and we'll see how the second one works out. We'll see how it goes before we greenlight the second one. From what I can tell, the Ann Sarnoff, the director of Warner Brothers, was indicating strongly that it was going to get a sequel. So I feel much better about it now, right? Knowing that at least we're going to get the end of the first book. But really, I think it needs 3 movies. I think it needs Dune Messiah, and I think it needs that 3 movies because it's so freaking good, right? And there's a lot about it to recommend it. How good is it? I'm going to tell you how good it is. This is the second time I recorded this this review, and I've done. You do this occasionally, right? You re-record something, you think, I think I can do it a bit better. But this is I've recorded it and I've already uploaded it to YouTube. I've never done that before, right? I'm always been like, it's gonna. But I watched it again last night, and there are bits in it which really deserve talking about, and it was a mistake not talking about it, right? So this is my second strike at this. So fine, like, share, subscribe. All those things are good things to do. Thank you very much. I'm very, very grateful to everybody who does indeed like, share, and subscribe. Comment, let me know what you think, and go check out this movie again. It's clearly better to see it at the cinema. However, I got a 60-inch TV and a comfy couch. And I went to the cinema to see the Bond movie, and I didn't really like going to cinema. It kind of depressed me. I'm going for Ghostbusters, right? Ghostbusters really look awesome, right? I am so psyched for that movie. But that's the only movie that's got me excited enough to actually get off my ass and go to the cinema. But this movie looked fantastic, and it wasn't enough, and it's a cinematic movie that's going to be much better on an IMAX screen, right? It really genuinely is. Don't care. It was good enough. And frankly, it's 2.5 hours long. I think I would have been happier at being a 5, 6, 7, 8 hour miniseries with slightly lower production values, right? I think I would have been totally fine with that because this thing looks like they spent a ton of money and it looks freaking gorgeous. Absolutely freaking gorgeous. Fine. I think I said like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things good. Yes, please do all that. So if you don't know what Dune is, right? If you've never read Dune, you've never seen the first movie, it does follow that the David Lynch movie, beat for beat. Pretty much it follows the first episode of the 2001 Sci-Fi Channel TV version of it, which is excellent. That's very, very accurate. The story is very much, you probably know, well, I'm going to give you the bare bones of it. It's a bit spoilery. I'm going to be not totally spoilery, because here's the thing. It's half the bloody story. The movie actually ends after you see a glimpse of the Dune, classic Dune that you see having your head. You got like deserts and Fremen and sand riders and all that stuff last like minute. If you like if you've been blinking, you miss it, right? But again, as long as they make the second part, it's fine. So why do I want to make the third part, right? It's because of the casting. The casting in this, with one exception, is freaking incredible. Absolutely. The casting of everybody exudes the essence of the character, and so it's very organic and what's the word? Respectful. It's very much representing what the book tried to represent. I think it's an equally respectful adaptation as Lord of the Rings was respectful to the. I think maybe more so to the source material. So it's very much worth there. So they got one character in it called Duncan Idaho, who, if you read the book, he's very much in the first half. He's not in the second half. And then in there's a second book, which is about half the size of Dune, Children of Dune. I mean, Dune Messiah, right? And a major part of that book is the main character, Paul Atreides' relationship with Duncan Idaho. So the take on Duncan Idaho here is essentially Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa, freaking incredible. Absolutely freaking incredible. And I'm going to say that about everybody. He is the essence of Duncan Idaho and gives me a new spin on it. Again, if you've seen the David Lynch movie, he was kind of like forgettable a little bit in that one because of kind of blink and you miss him. And in the TV version, again, not essential, but here, because he's got all this charisma of Jason Momoa, you want to see that Dune Messiah story, where it's like how that works. Like, I want to see him come back and do more in this role because it's so good. Again, that was my reservation about recommending this movie. It's so freaking good. So let's go over the cast. You have Timothée Chalamet, Timothée Chalamet, playing Paul Atreides. So the basic story of this movie, it's thousands of years in the future. And it's very Games of Thrones-y with like lots of political machinations. So you got these different royal houses. You have the House of Traders, who are the good guys in House. Was it Harkonnen? They say Harkonnen now. In the David Lynch version, it was Harkonnen. Now it's Harkonnen. Who are the bad guys? And this is the one failing, I think, of the movie, and it comes right from the source material. There's very little nuance. Like, the good guys are very much the good guys. They're great. They're very Mary Sues, right? And the bad guys are very much the bad guys. There's no real nuance to them at all. So there's the most valuable substance in the galaxy is a thing called the spice melange, this thing that allows for interstellar travel. It's essentially LSD or magic mushrooms. This is basically, that's what it is, and it mutates you over hundreds of years and allows you to again, interstellar travel. That's if you're a man. If you're a woman, it gives you like these psychic powers. There's a whole group built up of the women who take it called the Bene Gesserit. And the men who take it are the Spice Guild navigators. So that's there is an idea there will be a super being, a Kwisatz Haderach, which comes from a Jewish expression called Kwisida Haderach, which is the shortening of the way. When God sends Abraham on a quest, and he sets on the road, and then he gets there very, very quickly. Let's shorten the way. It's a messianic term. Who is a man who can get all the psychic abilities and also the travel abilities from taking spice. Somebody who will join the two. So the Bene Gesserit have been controlling the bloodlines of families for hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years, of these royal houses. So the the House of Harkonnen, they've had control of Dune, the planet Arrakis, which is the only place that makes this spice, right? It's the only place in that they can get it, and they become insanely wealthy from it, like just insanely wealthy from it. And because they're the bad guys, they've had a brutal occupation of Arrakis, of Dune, subjugating the native population called the Fremen. I know, it's all very detailed, but it's all kind of important to the story. So that's essentially the setup. And the setup is well built, really, really well in like the opening line of the movie, which is said by Zendaya, who was pretty good in this, where she has a voiceover talking about the Harkonnens. They came, they raped the land, they have only known abuse of them, they've occupied, they've been brutal. And then one day, the Emperor tells them to leave, and they're waiting to see who their new oppressors are going to be. So their new oppressors are going to be the Atreides, the good guys. So what's really going on is it seems like it's some kind of terrible trap for the Atreides. The Atreides are getting very popular in the Galactic Senate, whatever, and the Emperor, who you don't see in this movie, is getting jealous. It's getting jealous of Duke Leto Atreides. So this could be a setup to annihilate them, and they're on guard, right? So that's essentially the first half of this movie, setting it up. Let's go through the cast. We got Timothée Chalamet playing Paul Atreides. He's the son of Duke Leto Atreides. He is very probably going to end up being this Kwisatz Haderach. His mother is played by Rebecca Ferguson, also freaking incredible. So she was a member of this Bene Gesserit order. She's got all these like psychic powers and these fighting abilities, and she's been training Paul and giving him a little bit of spice to like augment his abilities. Basically, perfect representations of both characters. Oscar Isaac plays Duke Leto Atreides. I think he's pretty much the lead of the movie. A bit of a Mary Sue, but again, very, very much from the book. He's a very, very noble character. Basically, you've seen the trailers. You know exactly what he's like. So his plan is, rather than subjugate the Fremen, he wants to make an alliance with them and say, listen, we can all do very well if we work together, right? So the leader of the Fremen is played by what's his name again? Javier Bardem as Stilgar, leader of the Fremen. Very, very distrustful. Very the whole representation of the Fremen and Dune in general goes very much into like Middle Eastern philosophy and aesthetics. Again, you're going to see, hopefully, if there's another movie, you're going to see a lot more of him in the next movie. You see him for like 2 scenes in this one, but he's fantastic in both those things. Right? Again, you've probably seen these in other versions. There's a scene where he comes in, he meets Duke for the first time, and he spits on the table. It's a famous scene. It's not really a big spoiler, and things about it. They're about to cut his throat, and then they say, no, thank you for your gift of water, because there is no water on this planet Dune, which completely changed the culture, right? And so that defines the culture. Josh Brolin plays Gurney Halleck. He was played by Patrick Stewart in the David Lynch version. He's probably as far from the book version as Patrick Stewart was in the David Lynch version, but very cool. Like in the book version, he's kind of like this, but he also has a mandolin, and he's a little bit more lighthearted. In the trailer, there's a famous bit where he's standing with Duke Leto, and he's about to meet a delegation from the Emperor. By the way, design work in this movie, we'll talk about that in a second. Freaking incredible. It's breathtakingly good. All of it really feels like one of these classic book covers from the late 60s, where you had these incredible Pulp Fiction artists would make these incredible works of art. It's incredible. And a wonderful sense of design. It's really absolutely wonderful. So there's a scene there where the Emperor's envoy is coming up, and Duke Leto, Oscar Isaac, is like, smile, Gurney. And he's like, I am smiling. It's got Joe Streddy. So that's basically his character. And then you got. So I think that's all the House Raiders. There's one more character who's, what's the name of the actor? Who I've seen him in a bunch of stuff, and I like him in everything I see him in. But what's the casting? The guy who played Gurney Halleck. Gurney Halleck is a mentat. Mentats are human computers. Because this is just the law of the Dune universe. There was a jihad. The Butlerian jihad was several hundred years earlier, in which all thinking machines were destroyed. So they have basically human computers played by this older black guy. What's his name? I'm looking on the Wikipedia, seeing if I can find the characters. Where is it? Critical response? No, it's not telling me. I have no idea. No idea of the guy's name, but he's very, very good. And then you got so the bad guys. The bad guys are the Harkonnens. I suppose the one you see the most is Dave Bautista playing the Beast Raban. He is the guy overseeing Dune. He obviously, it looks a bit mean, right? You don't see Fade in this movie. Fade was played by Sting in the '84 version. Major character, so I'm surprised they haven't introduced him yet. And you also don't see the Emperor as well. Another major character. They haven't introduced him yet. So the head of the House Harkonnen is played by Stellan Skarsgård. So you've seen him in Marvel movies. He was the minister in charge of Chernobyl in the Chernobyl miniseries. Just beyond perfect, right? He was played by Ian McNeice TV version. Just absolutely, just incredible menace and rancor that bleeds out of him, and intelligence and power, right? Just absolutely freaking incredible. And then he has his own mentor played by David Dashaman. I can't remember his name. He's the guy who played Polka Dot in the Suicide Squad, the creepy guy. Freaking incredible in this. Absolutely incredible in this. So yeah, so the cast all knock it completely out of the park, are all completely perfect, with one exception that stands out like a sore thumb, and that is Sharon Duncan Brewster. She plays Dr. Leah Keynes. So in the David Lynch version, he was played by Max von Sydow. So this character was gender and race swapped, and honestly, when I first heard about that, I'm like, well, what's the big deal? This character, there was nothing in it to suggest her gender and race, but it was a masculine character, right? It wasn't, even though it wasn't a major character, it was a very masculine character. They never really pay attention to that when they do gender and race swap. They never make the character organic, make it fit that character. Like Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica is the gold standard, right? Is the absolute gold standard of how you do that. And because that seemed to be organic to me, right? That seemed to be they build a character with the central traits of Starbuck, but as a woman from the ground up, and it totally, completely worked, right? I just think they did a fantastic job with that. Here, it didn't, right? It seemed like they just took the lines and rewrote it. And the trouble is, she's on screen with just this breathtaking acting talent. This Javier Bardem, Jason Momoa, Josh Brolin, Oscar Isaac, Rebecca Ferguson, Dave Bautista, Stellan Skarsgård, Charlotte Rampling. It's incredible acting talent. And basically, she's a TV actor, and she just can't bring the layers to the role that needs. And she stands out like a sore thumb. It's very clear that she was race and gender swap, not for story value, but for modern day sensibilities, right? It which are basically insane. And I think it does her a disservice because it makes her look bad. It's a blight on this movie, in my opinion. The movie, generally speaking, excellent. So the design of this movie, this is the other thing. This is the reason I'm re-recording it. The design is breathtaking. So they travel with these thing called ornithopters, right? And I've never seen a good representation of them. They're supposed to have wings. They're supposed to have instead of whirring blades. So I'm like, I can never really imagine. So here they look like giant locusts, right? There's so believable design, so incredible design, and the design in general throughout the whole thing is very, 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 very detailed. It's at the same level as Blade Runner was in its time. It's an incredible bit of world building. It's doing quite well worldwide. I think it's taken over 130 million so far worldwide. So I think we're in good shape to get a sequel. But man, do I really want to get that a series of 3 movies, because without a sequel, we are watching a crime. This is an absolute crime against filmmaking, right? It really is. Anything else I can think to tell you about it? The score is interesting. Score is very Aboriginal, right? It's the first thing that starts the movie. You get this like Aboriginal didgeridoo like sound and a little capture saying dreams are whatever. I can't remember what it was, but there's a lot of that going through it. Just the world building is really complete. And the second half of this movie is about the fate of House Atreides as planned by the Harkonnens and the Emperor, and seeing how it goes down. One bit that I, as a reader of the book, I absolutely adored, is where you briefly go to the planet of the Emperor's shock troops, the Soldat Susa or something like that, and was it in it was one of the books they talked about why the Fremen are such incredible warriors, because they live on Dune, which is very, very harsh, and there's no water, and it's a very hard place to live, and the only reason that these other these shock troops are anywhere near as good can be a match for them is because they also live on a very harsh planet, and so you get to see like the harshness of their world. And so was it David Dasherman is arranging some of them to help out the Harkonnens in something, and they said, are they going to be? We need your best troops. Can you? And he looks around and says, we're Samasuda. They have the real pride in their brutishness, which really comes out from the book. Interestingly, another interesting thing is in the David Lynch version, they had a lot of the thought process as voiceovers from in the movie. In this one, they don't. So there's a scene in it where there's an assassination attempt against poor Atreides, the kid, where they send in this little floating killer dart thing that like scans and looks for him. So he stands very still, so it can't find him, and it's like scanning the room looking for him. And then somebody else comes in and he grabs it so it doesn't kill that person instead. Again, beat for beat from the David Lynch version. But in the David Lynch version, you had his full voiceover, which is basically the dialogue from the book explaining what's going on, right? Explaining what he's thinking about. In this version, you don't. And I'm not sure, which one do I prefer? I like it because I've read the book, so I know what they're thinking, right? But what would it be for somebody who's a newbie? I don't know. But it's... is this a recommend? Yes, this is a strong recommend. This is a very, very, very classy movie. I just really hope there's going to be more. I really hope there's going to be at least one more, because it ends right in the middle. But much more. I hope there's going to be 2 more. I hope this one does well enough. They greenlit part 2 and 3, right? And that would be freaking incredible, absolutely incredible. As I would say this movie is, right? As I would say this movie is. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.